Okay, Kathy with a K, sometime radio broadcaster, all-time curious about people I know and meet. DJ Slant. He said to call him Slant.
Don't need the DJ.
Okay. First got connected with Slant. It was IG. And all the posts that I've seen you do, vinyl, so much vinyl. I want to know why so much vinyl? How'd that come about?
It was probably about in fourth grade. Kind of hung around older guys. So actually, an older guy that people might know is Kevin Luke. When I was fourth grade and he was sixth grade, he was already into, I guess, collecting records himself as a DJ background that he has. So musically wise, he was into the popping and breaking. Lunchtime recess, he would, turn me on to these new tapes and new artists and such. Mm-hmm. And from there, it kind of really caught my heart of this type of music.
Were you raised up in Hawaii?
Born and raised here, yes. From the second grade, I attended Manoa Elementary, then went on to Stevenson and graduated from Roosevelt. So Townie. Yeah, Townie to be.
Where did you discover the popping and breaking? It's like you said, Kevin.
His younger brother was a classmate of mine, but that's how we kind of got close to each other. Years after that, attending Stevenson, when the whole breaking scene, whole graffiti thing was kind of full-fledged here in Hawaii, introduced here. I really got into it as well. Yeah. These guys would practice the dancing, and I'll be kind of on the side. They didn't want to, teach me. Meanwhile, when we started going to those very more production dances, all the high school dances, while they're dancing with all the girls, scoring all the girls, with all the latest moves, right? I was there watching the DJ because I wanted to know what record, what song that was.
Right.
So I would just stand up by the DJ booth and see what record it was, memorize it, and I would go over to Tar Records or Jelly's done, that on next Saturday morning, and I'd go and purchase that, that single.
Oh, that's
cute. And I started making my, my posit mixtapes, so-called.
Yeah.
Yeah, with just a cassette deck and a single, home stereo unit. And do the whole pause and release of the record. And, so all the songs are like one after another and such. So there's no tape of waste space. So kind
That's
of like
fascinating.
Pause, it's a pause thing.
Right.
Pause mixtape back in the day.
So when you're talking about back in the day, the 1980s.
Yes. Seeing the times that we are in now, everything goes back to kind of the roots. I call it the roots that, I've grown up with. Things like surfing. I grew up surfing, skateboarding. These are huge sports, Olympic, making the Olympics now. And so when I was doing it, my mom always said, you're going to be a beach bum, Curse. What are you going to do? You're going to be in your car just with your surfboard? I said, Mom, I'm going to be happy just as that, me and my surfboard. Yeah, I kind of wish I kept on going because, look how much money's into the, the sport of surfing now. I mean, these guys make millions of dollars,
Right. Well, I never know what's going to drive or inspire you. It's going back to like if you had stuck with skateboarding or surfing and things like that. Do you still do it as a hobby? Is that still something?
Surf, I do surf.
Yeah.
Skating with the moves that they do now. I could never do them now, and I'll probably break my ankle, and that would be it, at my age right now. But
do you still skate,
surfing, though? Maybe for transportation.
Yeah. No, I see people like with boards like going all over town, and I'm like, I wish I didn't get scared. Like I remember, like I had a board, and I remember skating, and it's just like that one piece of gravel that just stops you and you fly up, and that's the turning point. Either you continue, dust yourself off and work around obstacles, or you do my route, and I just never got back on a skateboard, Even like a surfboard, it's like I went out Velzyland one time. I didn't know.
That's a rough spot.
I didn't know.
I've only been out there twice.
But I was just paddling around, and it was very calm. So, but I was just like, wow, there's only 2 inches of water above this reef.
That can happen, yes.
So it was nice just to say that I paddled out on a board. I can just check that off. Going down to Bunny Slope when you're skiing, check that off my list sort of thing. Social media has helped me to connect and meet people that I wouldn't otherwise get a chance to talk story with. Back to the Instagram. When did you decide to use Instagram as a way to showcase your vinyl collection? And do you know how big your vinyl collection is?
Under 10,000 records.
Holy moly.
So I've never really physically counted them. I just kind of roundabout. So it could be a plus or minus, so maybe 10,000 records.
Do you remember your first record purchase?
It would have to be something like the Sugar Hill Gang.
Okay.
Like, somewhere about there when it was the breaking days, definitely. I don't know if it's Kraftwerk or Grandmaster Flash.
Maybe you were gifted a record.
Or possibly, I've got a lot of records handed down to me, as well as, just people like wanting to sell them. So, definitely I try to make my best effort to go there and snatch whatever I can, especially, the gems that I could never find in Tar Records or Jellies or, you know, Radio Free Hawaii music. Yeah.
Do you remember what you were doing before that? Life before music, I guess. You know?
I guess my life before then, you know, in elementary school, it was the usual. My mom forced me to play basketball and baseball, so I grew up, you know,
Activities,
playing,
yeah.
and Boy Scouts.
Oh, okay.
And you know, eventually, after 6th grade, I came out of Manoa Valley, which is primarily all with the Asian people. I was on a district exception, so I always lived in Makiki. 1st grade to the 6th grade, I was always a district exception. So I kind of always felt like an outsider being there because everybody lived in Manoa, so they could always walk home. But I used my auntie's house, so I could just walk over to my auntie's house. So we used her address as, you know, an escape for me to keep on enrolling in Manoa. Because it's such a Asian safe so-called valley back in the day, you know. So 7th and 8th grade, when I was at Stevenson, I lived literally, you know, 2 minutes away. So therefore, it was no longer needed to take that Asian bus back into the valley where we were very sheltered. Yeah. So I made new friends that actually live on the same block or just a couple blocks away from me. We started while BMX as main transportation along with skateboarding. We started surfing. You know, we started taking ourselves down to Waikiki, catching the bus to Waikiki, using the Jack in the Box trays just to body surf because we couldn't take the bodyboards on the bus. You know, or if we could catch a ride with somebody's mom that was able to drop us off Ala Moana and would stay there a whole day, you know, surf 3 sessions, you know, morning, a mid, and a, you know, late night one, and she'd come and pick us up after work. So I really got involved with skating and surfing, and I quit the whole baseball and basketball and Boy Scouts thing, which my mom really thought I was going through the whole, you know, growing issue. And she thought my direction was totally wrong. Meanwhile, I started going out because I love the whole dance and music, the whole art thing, you know, art. It was a classmate of mine, Jesse Holt, Ed Holt.
I know Ed Holt.
Yes, that's why I knew I could say his name. Actually took Jesse and I, the younger brother, and I to my first nightclub. It was Phase. It was Phase next to Masquerades, right? So you enter through Masquerades, go through the courtyard, and then we would enter Phase.
I remember going there too. Yeah.
And the music there struck me as it was labeled back then goth or alternative, you know, industrial. On the other side was a whole different story. Masquerades. It was the whole get drunk, you know, and, you know.
All that top 40 stuff.
Yeah, top 40 music, you know, you get a girl to dance with you or not. And I was terrible at that. So, you know, I got shut down once at one of the St. Andrews Priory. I held all my strength and energy and my courage to go to this one girl before the dance was done. And I went and she shut me down. So ever since then, I just said, okay, dancing's not for me, but I'll just stick to the DJ and the music thing. But anyway, when I went to the nightclub, it was so interesting because guys are dancing by themselves, girls are dancing by themselves, they're dancing together. They got off the floor whenever or got on the floor whenever they wanted, and the music was dark, it was
moody.
It was very moody, it was very moody, very dark, but I thought it was so interesting and it really swept me away. Since then, I've always liked and I followed more alternative music than pop music. Even though I grew up listening on the radio, you know, during my teen years to all the stuff, it was that underground scene, that phase that totally smashed me away.
I can totally relate to that.
Depeche Mode, the Erasure, the alternative groups that, you know, a lot of wasn't played on the radio before. KTWH actually has paved the way for people like me.
Oh, that's so great. Were you ever a guest or anything?
No, I never
like that,
was,
KTWH?
although I've always followed them, you know, and I was always, you know, they always told me to come down and such. I've played a number of times for Cavett, you know, at his gigs and stuff, so totally support those guys up there, man, 100%.
I really like how you were talking about, you saw the crowd response at Phase with the music. You wanted to be able to be the DJ to be able to move the crowd or to affect the mood?
See, again, I never want to be a DJ. That's why I don't like that name DJ Slant. You know, I just like the music so I started collecting them. And I just like, again, with the whole hip-hop thing before, it's always about the DJ altering records, you know, actually disc jockeying the records back and forth and making people dance. Was never really good at, but I did learn how to mix. So I can save my life on mixing. I can't save my life on scratching and doing the things these kids do nowadays. But I'm going to leave it to them. Just being a record collector, I always liked the alternative. I really got really deep into alternative music, underground music. So even my hip hop that I have is a lot of underground music that's never been so-called really played on radio shows. Maybe in the mainland, maybe such, but locally here now, I've never. And even as DJs, I've DJed a lot of venues, especially carrying vinyl. I really couldn't take requests because the things that they requested for was things that I maybe left at home, or it's stuff that I never really brought with me because I wanted to bring new music that I like, that's underground, and share it with people. This one guy at the whole end of the night came up to me and said, wow, I've never heard anybody play this track. You know, it's like, you're the only one. And I looked at him like, wow, dude, you just made my whole night. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just because, you know, he knows and understands, you know, that, you know, he appreciated that record that I was playing. And that's what I try to get out, is try to give people a chance to listen to something different.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times they'll come in the nightclub and they ask me to play it, but I'm like thinking to myself, you can go back in your car and just turn the radio on and you can listen to it there.
Yeah.
This is try to take it as a different experience, as, you know, being there live in front of a DJ playing records in front of you.
It's like being a bedroom DJ. Where did you make the leap from playing music for your own amusement and satisfaction? Do you remember some of your earliest gigs?
Well, I sit in the wall right where the Fugazi After Dark. Actually, it was a friend of mine, Kevin Suj. Just so happened he knew the owner of After Dark when it first opened up. Our equipment, our 2 turntables, simple mixer. I don't even know what kind of speakers we had on the stage, but really half done, you know, ghetto rigged, you know. But somehow to this day, I've met friends that I've hung on years at different venues that they were there. And literally, I know them back then, but they were there. They used to love going there. Yeah, it really surprised me. At that point, we were kind of playing more house.
Who would be on the lineup? If you're on the bill, who else would also be?
Basically, back then, it was only Kevin Suj and I.
Okay.
DJ Dano, that's when he was coming around, bringing a crate of records. He would just come along and just want any time when we're not on there, and he would jump on and just practice. So he was kind of upcoming. And little did I know, after that, we ventured on to other things. Dano became really big, and I was part of Euphoria.
Waimanu?
Yeah,
Waimanu.
Yeah, Waimanu Street. But that was after garage and everything was gone, right?
Okay. Yeah, everything
Yeah.
seemed to happen in the 1990s,
know,
and
it's
just
kinda after.
and at the same time it disappeared. It's like it never happened.
But I did going back to the Phase days growing up, so I kind of hung out there because of surf crowd also.
Okay.
Surfers always like alternative music, because always in our surf videos, I realized that the producers of surf videos always had, you know, alternative music, whether it was not just punk rock or rock. But a week after that, I did the whole Pink Cadillac thing because Phase was gone along with Masquerades. So I grew up the Thursdays and Fridays and Saturdays at Pink Cadillac. Again, I was downstairs mostly with our DJ Dave, was on the bottom playing the 80s alternative. And
Dave
then maybe on the
DeLuca?
top, Dave DeLuca.
Oh
yeah.
my
Yeah.
gosh.
And on the top, I want to say it was Felix, it was Daniel J, it was Passion, Peter Beat.
Yes.
And then Peter Beat went down and he opened Pink's Garage, right? Yeah,
Was
along
that
with Daniel J. So I did that whole thing after Pink Cadillac, and then the whole Garage, Pink's Garage, when it turned to, Garage. Well, Pink's Garage, right? And then Garage. Had something across the street, too. And then I had down the street, the Kodak building, where all the punks and the skaters used to hang out, because they had all those punk shows.
Because I remember next door to the Wave was
If you're
next,
if you're coming into Kala.
Yeah, Kalakaua. The building before Wave One.
That was another club I liked, too. That was a nice club.
Yeah,
I
it
remember
was
inside, it was very nice for at that time, the 80s.
Limelight. You're
right.
welcome.
Limelight. Limelight, I remember because actually the dance clothing thing. So San Francisco Rag Shop was a place, one of the places too, you know, where all the hip people hang out and or worked and bought their clothes. And it's a Christmas party. One of the Rag Shop girls had asked me to go to a Christmas party, and they had it there. And I was like, wow, this club is cool. When I turn of age, I'm going to come and hang out, you know, because again, I was still underage. But
I think that's your Boy Scout coming through.
But yeah, so
wild.
did the whole nightclub thing, you know, and I ended up till last day of Wave, you know, I hung out there. Previously before that, 1739, I was playing at 1739. I believe that's when Flash kind of came about and started, you know, he was just a bartender back then, and, you know, he's behind the bar. Then he moved down the street to the Wave because 1739 was gone, and then, you know, he started being the whole, you know, production manager or the whole, you know, music guy behind the scenes at the Wave, right? Nightclubs, I was a total club kid, you know. Did the whole fusions thing, you know, on Sundays, all the club
Were you
kids.
like one of the club kids, part of that collective?
Kind of was, because again,
Yeah.
it took me back to Euphoria when I was part of Euphoria. I was a DJ guy over there, so I would set up the 2 rooms. We had 2 small rooms. One room was primarily from hip hop, and then the other one was a house room. So on the high energy in one room, and you know, hip hop, which is primarily like lower beats, lower BPMs for all the, you know, hip hop heads. In that room, and we wanted it together. It was I myself, and I was invited from Liberty Lau. She was a broadcaster. She was doing Hawaiian music back then, but she was part of that, so that was her background in music. and Rebecca. That's when G-Spot came about, when he came straight from Chicago. You know, be a headliner at Euphoria because we already had Daniel J, we had Passion, Felix. I wanted to be a part of the house DJs growing up, but we had so many house DJs in rotation already, so I was forced to do the hip-hop thing. Yeah, I continued on with hip-hop rather than being a house DJ. I like till today because after that, I later on, because everybody knew me as a hip-hop collector, got the opportunity when they wanted to do shows or hip-hop events, which first was at Nick's Fish Market with Lucas. It was Chrysalis. We called it Chrysalis.
Okay.
We were part of Universal Joint, was Lucas's promotion.
Yeah, okay.
Later on, moved on to Virtuals on Lures. Yeah, okay, after Virtuals, there's a place around the corner on the top by Pure Platinum. Well, it was Pure Platinum, but across from it, there's another bar on the second floor. Then we took it over there for a little while. There was another floor. Scruples, yes. It was old Scruples.
I just have forgotten, maybe by choice, maybe it was the alcohol and recreational drug use, but so much of it's just really, it's holding on by like this thread.
Most of my records, like 85% is from Jellies.
You knew Billy? You knew
Billy,
Craven,
yes.
So if you were going to Jellies back then, I want to say
when Jellies was 404 Koi.
Like, do you have pictures or video from back in the day or
No,
flyers?
unfortunately,
What
we
about
didn't.
flyers?
I believe I have flyers.
Yeah.
That's along with all the Radio Free Hawaii 102.7 ballots I've collected.
Really?
Yeah, I want to say I have stacks. So meanwhile, I was working retail.
Okay, where were you?
I was working retail in
So in the
Alamana.
1980s and 1990s.
My junior year in high school, I worked at Shirikia in the audio video department.
Okay.
My first pair of Techniques turntables came from Shirikia.
Oh, okay.
So that was my first set of
Well,
turntables.
you had money, yeah? That was not cheap. Shurikia had
No,
like...
I had a good boss that gave us good benefits, so to say.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, she was terrific. And like, again, that was never my job. I like the technology. So, you know, playing with electronics and just having fun for a couple, 8 hours along with a couple of my other friends. She actually hired all my high school friends. So I was surrounded, the whole department was me and my friends.
Oh, that's so fun.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah, so along, you know, learning more about audio and video. So that's why I see here right in front of my face that you sit in front of every single day, you know. Oh, it must be so fun, you know. Still retail sales my whole entire life. So I was always working full time, but nighttime then I'll be the club kid thing. Totally.
With the purchasing of records, you said maybe 8,000, 10,000 pieces of vinyl.
Before everything was in storage, but now it's back at my dad's house, and we had to we bought those stainless steel racks, the 5 tiers, and I just have them all lined up. So I think I have about 4 racks in this other little room, and then I have about another 4 racks in my bedroom. It's usually the bedroom ones that I keep, you know, easy access to, that I kind of dabble with, you know.
So what do you do with your music these days?
Bedroom DJ.
Bedroom.
All to
do you
myself.
make mixes? You load anything up on SoundCloud?
Everybody's trying to tell me you should do little shows and broadcasts.
Yeah. It'd be good for people who it's been a minute since they heard DJ Slant playing at the clubs and stuff. It's new to someone. There's always somebody who's going to be, you know, they'll appreciate you sharing what you love. So get on that SoundCloud or Mixcloud or whatever, you know, eventually.
Keep that in mind. I'll keep that in mind.
Broadcasting. What else do you do with the records that you don't really play?
I guess I'm a collector or hoarder, as you just previously mentioned.
If you take take care of your possessions, then you're not a hoarder.
That I can honestly say I do. I keep my records, you know, nicely stored. Going back to hoarding, I do have a whole bunch. I'm talking thousands of dollars of Star Wars Lego unopened boxes.
Are they investment pieces, or are these just? I've always wanted these things.
Being a Star Wars fan growing up, I used to try and make those Star Wars ships or something close to it. They had just space Lego, which is primarily like those gray and blue pieces. So I used to try and make ships, you know, like the Millennium Falcon and stuff. Right. But now they have it. It's like,
ready-made.
Oh my gosh, and it looks like the real thing. So it's like, I just have to have it.
Why Star Wars?
I just think there's something about Star Wars, the Force, you know. To me, the ultimate thing about the Force is like, it's love. It's a 4-letter word. Love is it's the ultimate. It's the most powerful word that we could ever use. You know, from one to another. The whole story of all these different characters and aliens and different colors and sizes and shapes and, you know, all coming to one as trying to, you know, just be and carry on, this universal thing, which is love, rather than destruction, which is going to come to, an end for some. I just think it's amazing. And just the whole deliverance back then, the cinematography of the spaceships. And again, like, all the characters were just, I was just one of those in 1977, just got wild,
Do you favor one trilogy to the next? Are you
just like the
original?
Yeah,
the original series.
Because everything is, the digital stuff just doesn't work for me.
Yeah, the first three, 1, 2, and 3, it's great.
Yeah.
It's good for a new generation to be turned on to it. I like the original because that's the 4, 5, and 6. Yeah, super fun. Do you have a favorite character?
I guess it has to be Yoda, I guess. Being as small and how powerful he was, bouncing off the walls with a lightsaber in his hand, compared to like the very beginning, we've never known that, as a powerful Jedi he was, being that very small.
Yeah.
When Luke first met him and stuff, like, you would never know his history, his past of how powerful he was, know. So
do you imagine yourself being Yoda-like, maybe aspiring to that kind of Yoda essence?
I would wish to be.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a real passive guy, so I'm pretty mellow in a sense.
I remember when I was a kid watching Star Wars and going home and trying to move things with not telling anybody, of course, but just trying to do some Jedi things. I wonder if
I tried
all
that
kids,
once too.
even grown-ups, after watching one of the
I stared
movies.
at things just thinking that it's gonna move. Just give it like another 5 minutes or so, and
I love that. It's so fun. Oh, the land of make-believe. It's super fun.
Right. So just a respect for the arts is my whole issue of my roots, no matter, like I said, if it's painting or drawing, from the whole graffiti thing to music instrument to a type of dance. It's just a way for people to express themselves, which I really respect, because I wish I could do it as good as or as well as these people do that
But you're an active participant. You've been a supporter as well as a contributor.
Again, like you said, to there's people that give me that drive and ambition of backing me again from my record collection. Is again through IG. He was a promoter for me before for hip hop. This is back in the Blue Room days, right behind where Bevy is now.
Okay.
There was Champions. We were doing hip hop things over there. So I, Delve, Excel, a couple other DJs that are big now. Revise. At that time, we were doing hip hop there, and Frank was my promoter along with Reynolds. We disappeared after those years.
Yeah.
And he found me on IG just recently, because he just recently jumped on, followed everybody. He saw my postings on my records and my hip hop, and he wanted to promote again. So it's his whole idea, and he created this thing called Hip Hop Time Machine. We did our first event last year, March, which turned out really great. We didn't think about how great it was going to be. Younger generation that also came out had a lot of full energy. But our thing is that we wanted to just actually throw a party, not a whole nightclub scene, just to get the 40 plus guys like us back out. So primary, get all our old friends. So we're going to go about, because people have been asking us since that last venue took about. And again, it was all vinyl. So there's 3 DJs.
That's a stipulation.
It was Apocalypse and DJ Blam and I. It was all vinyl. We said, this is all vinyl. There's no laptop. So we had 4 turntables, 2 mixers, and we just kind of did our thing for 4 hours, and we just jumped on one after another. 4 songs switched between the 3 of us. And we had a blast. And there's it was outside on a little courtyard in back of the venue, and it was a concrete floor. These young kids, they were breaking on the concrete. We had no idea a circle was going to open up as such. We're going to have ours at next door, later on this month. So again,
it was March 23rd,
yeah,
Saturday. Yeah.
But I'm going to bring all my Tommy Boy records and, all the D-Boy breaks and such,
That sounds like such fun. The music is so good. What are your go-tos if you do like a night like that? If it's 1990s hip hop?
My favorites are like The Roots, Tribe Called Quest, De La Soul. But then again, there's a lot of other artists, maybe just kind of not really one-hit wonders, but more of the underground hits. There's a lot out there. Usually at this point in time, it kind of disappears. So I have to visually going through my crate, and then I could kind of tell you.
That's so fun.
So this time I have Drama coming around from Stone Groove. I got DJ Revive. He's owner About the Goods. Blam. is going to be playing along with, who else? I got somebody else. Jedi. He was at Sarah's, yeah.
Yeah,
He was
yeah.
For years. But yeah, Jedi's going to come out of the woodworks, as he's saying, out of retirement.
I don't know why he would say that.
Me neither.
I mean, doesn't he? He says some kind of regularity.
He's been posting on IG that, he's coming out. So check him out March 23rd, coming out of, retirement. I'm like, I don't think you've ever been retired.
He's
man.
not.
So,
Oh, you kids making like you guys so old. Come on, stop it.
Yeah, I was on a Museum of Arts board for about 3 years. DJ, so yeah,
fun.
that was fun. That was a fun venue. Being a salesperson, one of my companies I was at Prada Sport. They had these red parties back then. They had it for just a couple of years, been from like 6 to 10 or something. But I was actually in my Prada store window, DJing in my own window. Then we had a reopening of the flagship store in Waikiki, Prada. So I did a kind of like a grand opening where we had all our VIP clients coming in for like a reopening, remodeling of Prada. Somebody from the party was part of the Museum of Art, and they liked the type of music that I was playing. So they invited me to come aboard, and I did small parties that they have up at Tanlis, in the little courtyard right in front of the little store they have. I'll set up just one speaker underneath my little table, and I'll just play background music for them while they're doing their whole wine and tasting things and of whoever artist they're showcasing at that night. And then again, I served that for Art After Dark for 3 years, and the different in the different courtyards to the different themes, which was very challenging. So I did have to cater to that type of music or that theme for that event or party. So that was really challenging. I had to look up music and had to learn different types of music, not just hip hop and alternative.
Oh, that's good. I mean, it's just like it's nice that the role of the DJ is that malleable. Some people are just it's personality driven, so it would be like playing just that specific kind of genre, or someone who is able to play with what the client is requesting. It's good to be able to have all those feathers in your hat. I totally get it. It's like you don't want to be pigeonholed into just doing a specific thing, and I think it just comes with age. So DJ Slant has never been a main for you. That's your fun.
My fun thing, yeah. Like I said, I was just had opportunities that these guys they wanted to be a promoter. Well, it was like architects, Golden Child and such. But just friends of friends again, and they just called me up. Hey, contacted me and say, hey, can you come play? I said, oh, okay, sure. And I never really demanded, sum of money. To me, it was always just an opportunity, and opportunities you can build bridges. And that's what I have in life, is a lot of bridges that have been built. I like to build
that
rather
is a really great way of looking at it.
Yeah, I never like to destroy any bridge that I've built. It's the way I've been brought up from my mom, is the way that I am. And people kind of think that, Curtis, don't let them, stomp you around and push you around and this and that. But I mean, I'm not gullible enough that it's going to happen that way, But the way I think I just promote myself around others, and the way I act makes life easier for me when I need things to be done or need to ask anybody, or when they ask me. That's just how I take it, my whole outlook in life, especially being older now, a lot wiser. When
you were younger and you used to shop for vinyl at Tower Records and at Jellies. I remember working at Jellies, and people would come in with their mixtapes. Did you ever come in with mixtapes?
No, unfortunately, I didn't.
Did you buy mixtapes?
I did.
Did you go according to the artwork or according to the DJ, or it's just new and I don't have it?
I guess it was the songs. Like, the songs, especially if I didn't have those tracks on record, I definitely want to at least have some way to listen to it. I like to listen how the DJs put it together, the whole composition of the mix, whether it's scratching and dropping, or if it's a smooth, seamless like mix, I've learned a lot, just by techniques that I've observed, and by listening to their styles, the different styles and techniques that they do, and try to figure it out. And if I can, somehow teach myself to do it in that manner, something that opens up my eyes that I haven't heard or, seen before, then more education to me. That's always what I saw the tapes as, a type of tool to educate myself with the music and the DJ's technique of putting that mixtape together,
When did you find out about that there was a person responsible for mixing and the transitions and the beats and the sound effects?
I guess it was just through friends of friends, just being at their house with the tools electronics that they had at their house in time, whether it being like a sampler or a 4-track, the production that comes out, which was amazing, that all the work that you have to do in editing and going over and erasing or re-recording, it takes a lot of time just to put out, you know, whether it be a 60-minute tape or a 90-minute mix. A very long process, you know, weeks and months for it to come out correct is what, I guess maybe I never came out with one because I just never felt confident in what I would put out would be so-called perfect, I guess. I guess that's why I don't like to sing either, because kind of listen to it enough that I can't make myself sound like that. I'm pretty anal, that's why. The way I judge myself, I guess. And if I don't think it's right or looks right, then I just won't put it out there.
Okay. What are you comparing it?
Like such thing as drawings, I'll do drawings, but then I'll look at it like a week later and I won't continue it because it doesn't look right.
One time I drew a picture of Bob Marley. Oh my God, was the proportions are like...
I would never even chance faces, so I don't,
I'd love to say I'm an abstract artist, but it's just like, no, I just
that's what
don't...
I consider myself, abstract.
Yeah.
Whatever
really...
it looks like to you, then, that's what it is, exactly. Yeah, so I guess, well, my strength in as a DJ is my mixing. Find the 2 points, the BPMs between both records, you know, with the amount of time that you have when they're dancing on the dance floor, and be able to find that transition or the break.
Oh, the optimal
in the
transition.
Song. Yeah, to make it very smooth.
Yeah.
And I guess I'm used to that. Well, it's the freestyle dance days, you know, all that No Sarah and the Company
That's
B
such good
and
stuff.
Noel and, you know, Janet Jackson and all that type of stuff where, you know, you can't have the talking or the singing over each other. You have to find a break between the two songs and transition from one to another. But to me, more analytical to make it smoother was the 80s alternative, for example, the way they're grooving on the floor and the way, just they're flowing and their motions of their hands and feet. It's very drifty and such. So
shoegazing, I remember that whole Manchester sound.
Baby Potter on the dance floor, you know. Transitions, you wouldn't really want to jerk it around when it came to that type of alternative music. A lot of times. Depends when you go B-52s, that's something different. You know, when you go to something more industrial. I learned that from Dave DeLuca, as he would keep me on dance floor at Pink Cadillac for, you know, most of the night, you know. Just because of the songs he played. And his transitions from song to song kind of almost memorized, you know, at one point. I kind of knew what song was coming up already.
You
know, because that's just their set, you know.
Where is he now? I saw him on a moped like 5 years ago or something.
I did see him on the moped Alamon area. He did invite me to his house after I kept on nagging him, what are you doing with those 80s alternative records, those Pink Cadillac records, Dave? Because he eventually carried on to the house scene, right? So he was a house DJ. And so I knew those records were somewhere there. And said, "Okay, Curtis, come over. You're going to be lucky. I'm gonna let some records go that I would never let go to anybody else." I went there actually twice with stacks. So it was about a couple hundred records that I bought off of him, which was all mostly alternative 80s. A lot of stuff that I didn't have or couldn't find, you know, at the record store. Stuff that he had exclusive because he was Dave DeLuca.
Who were some of the DJs for the different genres in Honolulu and Waikiki that you remember that you liked their style or their music selection at the different clubs?
James Coles, of course, is one, from all the way from the Silly's B-boy breaking days, you know, he was there. Johnny J. Jam, I still have some of his records that he actually sold to Jellies before he went off to his other ventures. Of course, everybody at the Wave, which basically was Keith Medina.
Well, Daniel J. was spinning there.
Yeah, of course, So the house DJs, I followed Mr.
I see his face, but I didn't know him.
Esteban would know. Yes, he's another club kid. Felix, Daniel J., Peter Beat, Passion, DJ Dano. Well, there's a lot of underground cats that played in a lot of smaller venues that...
On Pohukaina when My Favorite Eggplant was there.
Yes, I was going to mention My Favorite Eggplant.
And you did some art,
dabble here and there, you know, but nothing like these guys do, like Catch Howie, Catch One and stuff. And all these guys Slick and stuff. I mean, these guys are like, they're professional graffiti artists now, is what you can call them, you know, from back in the day, which is the 80s where, you know, we were fortunate to live.
Are there other events that you're hoping to put together, or is there?
Well, like I said, I don't know. I just want to do something daytime. So like at the beach or at a park. I don't know if it's Kaka'ako Beach Park or Alamana Beach Park, which we used to do. I used to do, during the summertime, get a whole generator, bring the turntables and just, word of mouth or call whoever. And
You can do
we'll
that.
call and hang out and, other DJs come bring your records, jump on, jump off, whatever, Just, something real casual, That's how we planned it. And usually throughout the whole day, then more people would just come out. Hey, we're at the park. Curtis got his setup over here. Bring your new records. And, Blam from Kailua, you come over. And then, oh, hey, what's up, man? You brought records? Yeah, okay, jump on. And, so far, it was about 3 or 4 years we did it. And just once a year. Well, summertime, basically summertime. Summertime came around.
So you're going to do that this year?
I don't know. We'll see.
Being townies, which clubs?
Pink Cadillac, but there are other clubs. Point After, there's Moose's.
Did you ever go to Silly's, or was that?
Silly's was, I think I was too young at the time because I heard like stories from my friends that, were breaking at that time and stories that went down and who did what move and this went down and, they battled. Then the other crew came down from wherever and, and then, but it's all these stories that I've always heard and Silly's was a spot, for Hawaii at least,
And I remember James Coles mentioning that there was an underage events that would be at Silly's before they would open it up to adults. I don't know how often that happened, but because that's how he got into DJing. He would go one day, they just said, we need somebody DJing. And
he was the one.
Yeah, he DJ'd for the adults. Do you remember listening to the radio when you were a kid?
Yeah, I did.
Do you remember which stations you listened to?
I want to say it was mainly 93.9, I think. 93.9, 93.1.
I-94?
I-94, yeah. Okay, I-94 too.
Do you remember the DJs, or was it was the music?
Not quite. It was just pretty much the music.
Yeah.
I was trying to record again, make my tapes. I didn't want them to be speaking. So,
I know.
I was there with the pause button, on alert, like, oh, this is the end of the song. They might speak now. Okay, I'll stop it here. Stop it there. And I'll have, record pause back on. As soon as you stop talking, hear a song. Okay, let go. And release pause. And, that's how I would do, capture the songs on air, just off radio and stuff like that. And then I'll play my tape back and listen to the songs that I liked,
That's so funny. I would do that when I had a single speaker boombox and I would like record songs, but I would very rarely listen back to it. I don't know if I have this song on my tape, and I would just record it.
Anyway.
Owner of Music was on my 120-minute cassette tape. I remember listening back to it, and it was just like portions of songs, and I couldn't tell you which my favorite songs were back then. But I remember cassette tapes, like the mixtapes I listened to were in high school. I guess it would be like the alternative stuff, so that's how I heard Depeche Mode for the first time, and I couldn't even like Susie and the Banshees and the Smiths and those anything that was like from across the pond, all that depressing stuff. But I was super confused as a kid. It sounds really upbeat and happy, and the lyrics were really so isolating and sad, and I'd be like,
I kind of went through that high school phase, just because of the music I was listening to. I used to be there just by myself after school, and just have my headset on, my tape or my CD, and just listen to it, and I'd just be so engrossed in the music, just because I'm just trying to see what the artist is feeling and throughout the song what they're getting across. So morbid, the Smiths,
so maudlin. But so when I got older and like having my own tapes and like unfolding the J sleeve and just reading the lyrics and like who wrote it, and sometimes it would be more details of it was inspired by this place in Spain and it was like summertime, blah blah blah, and I was like, oh, that's like so cool.
Instagram, it was mainly, if you look at my very first pictures, I show not videos, but before the video you'd be able to put on video was just still shots. The record, the jacket, the cover art. So I used to always hashtag cover art, the inserts or whatever. You could actually read the lyrics, or you have sometimes a poster, that you wouldn't get in a cassette tape. That was one part that I wanted to share with everybody, was a cover art of having an album or a record to look at or to listen to.
When I was a kid, I wanted to go into graphic design.
Same here.
And I wanted to go to Parsons. Like in 7th or 8th grade, I remember teachers was like, think about what you want to do after high school. And I thought, I could go design album covers. Synchronicity, the Police. Synchronicity is like the first time I had seen an album cover visually. It just evoked a certain something in me. That's what I want to do. And then when I got older, I cannot draw a circle freehand.
Well,
You know, and I was
circle's the hardest thing to draw.
and I was surrounded by people who were just naturally the ease from which they were able to sketch and draw realistic things. And I'm like, okay, this is not this is
I
not
think
my
that's-
wheelhouse,
You know what? It sounds like me. Like I was surrounded with these people that are so talented and they can do it so easily. What they can do in an hour, it's going to take me a month to do.
Yeah.
Literally. Music is a language. It's a universal language that, especially with the hip hop, it's always been upon a culture, hip hop culture, from taking kids off the streets and getting into the dance and the whole graffiti thing, you know, which was really bad. But look at powwow now, self-expression of an art form where there's dance or putting up a big mural on a concrete wall, you know, in the middle of the city, kids dancing in the middle of the street, you know, to this type of, you know, back then it was like electronic music. It's worldwide now.
I'm that old to remember when somebody
Right?
said that rap was a phase. And I'm like, I don't think so. I think
It's kind of like the new
yeah.
rock fled the whole scene at a point in time. The guitar was the number one selling musical device. But actually I heard the turntable is now kind of all over the world. There's a lot of turntables out there rather than, you know, guitars. More kids are bound to go and get a CD mixer or DJ, you know, controller,
Or the
rather than
effects.
picking up a
Yeah.
rather than picking up a guitar, which is kind of sad in a sense. To be able to pick up and play a musical instrument, like I said, is something that I can't do, and I wish I could, you know, because that's ultimately our roots.
Were you
or
able
our
to
musical
create
background, you know.
an endless song?
I'll clear their music. Is
Yeah.
what I do. I leave it to them to do the music, and I'll replay it.
So
and
what
share
about what do you do to earn a living?
luxury sales?
Ooh, luxury sales.
Well, Shirokio, then I went to Banana Republic for 6 years, then I went to Prada for 6 years. I was at the Gucci warehouse for about a year. I was into design and everything, so I was at the Honolulu Design Center with Inspiration, showroom manager for the lighting, 6-7 years as well. And then I wanted to get back into regular retail, so I was at Neiman Marcus for about 2 years, 2016. Front of the house experience, a small boutique, so they wanted somebody that could kind of do front and back. I was kind of fortunate to learn the easy part, which is the back of the house. And at times when the back of the house was taken care of, all my shipments and my transfers were all done throughout the day, I would be on the sales floor managing my salespeople, covering their shifts when they're going on breaks or who calls in sick.
Do you speak Japanese?
Sukoshi dake. Just retail. Numbers and colors. That's all you need to know. Size S, M, L, XL. That's fine.
Okay, why DJ Slant?
I had to come up with some type of name, and I wasn't going to put Curtis Hokama on there for sure.
That's a good name. You're the only Curtis Hokama I know.
Thinking about it, a lot of DJs, primarily they're African American, and I being Asian, would all Asian people think is like kind of universal. Hey, that's the guy with the slant eyes, you know?
Really?
So I don't know, which I don't really have because I'm Okinawan, 100% Okinawan. So Okinawan's weird, like known for the hair and the big bulgy eyes that I got.
Oh
But
my God, that's
anyway,
so
just because
funny.
I'm Asian and you know Japanese, but I just came up with slant and.
I'm just going to say that may be obvious to other people looking at me before somebody else says it, kind of thing, maybe?
I've had that a couple of times where people actually came up, hey, is this why your name's Slant? Because you're Japanese. I said, yeah, you're right on the money, sir. So, and then there's others that just kind of, they came up and asked. But I had more people that actually nailed it on the dot than, had actually asked me why. So I just kind of stuck with it ever since because, I had to be on a flyer. So
How about now? Would you ever change it? Is there any other?
no, I've always had friends that always change name to name, name to name, but then you can't keep up with them, and you can't put the history upon where they grew up from. So I just kept that name with me, and I'm just glad locally there's no others. But now that internet world, you type in that, and I'm not going to come up. There's another. I think he's from the East Coast, so drum and bass DJ. That's a pretty big time up there. So that's why my Instagram is Slant 808. My IG, I was probably late too, but I was there. My first IG post was 2014, I think. And I think it was until later that you could actually post videos. So I was just doing the picture taking thing, you know. But after I'm like, okay, if I post underground stuff, it's not so much the cover art that's there because it could be a black and white, you know, just a black and white label. So I was like, they want to hear it. If I take a picture of something, they don't know it.
Yeah.
I mean, they could always Google it or whatever, YouTube it, but it'd be nice to actually hear it on the spot rather than going and doing the work, you know? So I was like, let's record it so they can just press it.
Well, in the Insta stories, now they include a feature where you can include a 15-second clip of music. On occasion, I try to stump the library and see if they have stuff. But they have local artists and stuff. That's pretty cool. It can come in handy with the depth of your library. You can include things that are not yet included in Instagram. And they'll make you take it down,
Yeah, and they're still taking some down now. And I've had it posted to me for years now.
Yeah.
But just recently, it has to be removed just to do rights and this and that.
Yeah. What is life for Slant, a.k.a. Curtis?
Well, now that we've, promoting our little night that's upcoming, I've been kind of going out and kind of keeping in touch with other DJs and stuff. So, I've been down to Bevy, a couple of times. A good friend of mine, Leanne, for Soulgasm, along with Felix and a couple of Kentaro and other DJs that we played together since other gigs and stuff. So I go out there and support them definitely. When I do see posts on IG and stuff, then I want to kind of try and make it out there, show face and stuff.
For the March 23rd event or actually even last year for the first Hip Hop Time Machine?
Hip Hop Time Machine, that's our at Hip Hop Time Machine.
Did anyone record any of the mixes? If you didn't do it last year, are you doing it this year?
I definitely want to catch video. So he does have video on the new footage that we just released our little promo.
Any last thoughts? Any first thoughts? As soon as I stop recording, that's when everything comes out. It's amazing how that works.
Right. Yeah, but no, I'm fine, yeah.
I have a notebook somewhere, I don't know where it is, from a year ago, 2 years ago. And it's like notes of for different people that I've done interviews with. And I have all these questions and notes, and I have no idea where that booklet is. That would also double as a journal. So if anybody has it, please just either mail it back to me or destroy it. That's one of the downsides of in the moment, like just jotting down thoughts and stuff. But at the same time, it's like, I'm not going to live forever, so whatever. It's I can't help whatever I might have written down.
Just to look back though and just see what you wrote, to read what you wrote.
Sometimes I shredded all my yearbooks from school, my journals and things. So anything that I have in the past maybe 3 years, even then it's just like when I fill a book, I'll leaf through it and then I'll end up bringing it to work and shredding it. It's just like, there's a reason why I exercised it and just like wrote it down. But I think the one thing that I had for you, I think I just had one question because I just thought it would just go to something else, was where did your first record come from?
It might have been Gems or Woolworths. Everything else, like I said, 85% is from Jellies. Yeah, and then Tower Records, of course, when Tower Records had records.
Growing up in the 1970s and 1980s or even 1990s, you had to go out and go to a store and, rifle through either a record bin or a cassette wall or a CD wall also, I guess, and just look for what you wanted. And even then, it's like the challenge was the artist's name, the song. You remember picking up an album, liking an artist. I don't know the name of the song, so I would just buy it, listening to it, and it's like, none of this sounds like that song. I'd be so mad.
Yeah.
It's kind of like food. It's just like, take a bite. It's like, taking a second bite. It's like, nope. You remember like having to finish all your food. It's like, I don't know, maybe I like it. I don't know. I spent $18 on it. I could like it. I don't know.
Digging in the crates, Dusty Finger. It was all part of it, record collecting. Going to Vegas, I've learned that when I went record shopping in Vegas, from record store to record store, you have to carry your records that you previously bought.
Yeah.
Because you can't leave it in the car. It's going to melt.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that, I mean, here in Hawaii too, but in Vegas, no way, kind of limited because I had it all under my arm, maybe 3 or 4 packages, 12 records each, going to the 4th record store, it's kind of heavy after a while.
Right. Do you still go record shopping now?
I hate to say it, but online I do.
You do?
Discogs, especially alternative stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can only find it there. Like a lot of European is going to come from Italy, it's going to come from Switzerland. eBay as well, you can get good stuff.
Yeah, Discogs is good. It's a far cry from being raised up on like K-Tel Music or Columbia, the Columbia Music Club, where you can get everything for a penny and they get you in the end.
Still frequent Norm at Idea, as Daniel J. sold his collection. In back of the van, you see boxes.
When did he do this?
Maybe about 2 weeks ago.
What?
And Sheriff Norm is there, and the van doors are wide open. Norm's standing on one side, Daniel's on this
No.
side. I mean, I don't think it's his entire collection, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's a whole van full that he's going
Yeah.
to get rid of. That he's giving, well, not giving, but he's using Norm as, you know, the way to distribute his collection. And Norm
gosh.
said, "You're only going to be allowed to buy 7 records each of Daniel J's collection at a time."
That's cool that so many years later that they just remember. Because, you know, when you find something, you say, who sold it to you? And like Norm will say, oh,
Yeah.
so-and-so sold it, you know. So that's always like neat to find out the history. It's like you're adopting like a
Right.
rescue dog or something.
right.
It's like, what is the pedigree of this piece of vinyl? That's so funny.
Yeah.
I'm trying to, if there could be someone's record collection that you could parse through locally, who do you think would be pretty good, you know? Because I think at this point you have a little bit of every genre and every era that you care about. Who would have something that you might not have?
Definitely Daniel J for all the club music, because
I bet he has so much good funk.
yeah.
Yeah.
James Cole's, I guess.
Mm.
I don't know. I would think his library would be very, very full. Like, you know,
Mm.
I mean, be complete library is what it probably is.
Yeah. What's your filing system like?
I just kind of have it in genre. So I just got my alternative 80s here, and I call them my freestyle dance 80s. And I call my old school, which is all the b-boy breaks and stuff. Then I have my jazz. Then I have my reggae, my rock, which is like soft rock, you know, all that kind of. Then I have my hip hop collection.
Do you do it by artist or BPM or?
Not really. When I take things on gigs, so I pull things and put it in a separate crate, and I take that crate with me. But when I put it back, I'm kind of too lazy to put everything back. So I just take it out of the crate and I just put it right there, like in the section.
Right.
So it's kind of created up, like it's how I did my gigs, my past gigs. Mentally, I know where it is. It's
Whatever is
just
the
a
most
mental-
worn spine, those are the
Yeah,
ones
I can
you
picture
refer.
the spine and the color or the art or whatever, you know, and I know exactly what I'm looking for.
Of your current collection, do you have like a top 3, your go-to records? I just need like a pick-me-up.
I like acid jazz.
If you are lucky to know acid jazz,
Acid
and if you
jazz,
don't,
cool.
you know, if you don't know it, then I feel so sad for you. Poor things. That's like the one genres or subgenres of music, dance music, mood music that I feel so lucky I was turned on to it when I was turned on to it. Like brand new heavies immediately. And it's like specifically
that's
with
one of my
India
favorites.
Davenport though.
Exactly. That's on the spot.
Yeah. But what is it about acid jazz for you?
It's soothing, it's relaxing, easy to listen to. So I'm kind of a loungy kind of guy, but yet it can be very, very detailed. Depends who you're listening to, the type of jazz, acid jazz that you're listening to. Very creative and very abstract. You know, it can start one way and end up in another. You know, with if you have a collaborated artist, so per se, and they're playing it live. It's just amazing how they can collaborate and just play off each other and just create this sound.